Jordan was not in it. You played Peaches, aside from writing it, but you were there. I mean, the actor was there. He was fabulous, but I didn't have the benefit of at all. People were crying at the end of it. It's so powerful.
Yeah, it's a journey. It really is. We've had so much fun telling this story every night, and it's so taxing. It's so taxing.
I'm telling you,
it's so taxing. But it's super special. It really is. Talking about church, like we were talking about church earlier, but it really is church. We go in there, we create a safe space, and we walk out as actors transformed for sure, and hopefully we pass that on to the audience.
So Lee, why did you want to get involved in this play, and how are you involved in it?
It changed my life. I was looking for a writer for a show that we're doing for television, and all the writers were gone because of Empire, you know. Black writers were gone, people of color. And so I went to the streets, and I saw his play at the Public, and not only did I hire him for his first television show, and he came on to write for Star, but the Public were kind enough to allow me to produce it, which I'm really grateful for, because it changed my perception of what it was like to be a black man. I'm 60. And this 23-year-old kid changed my perception of what it was like to be a black man in America. And not since I stuck into the back of Dreamgirls when I was 17 had I been so profoundly affected by theater. And it made me realize why it is that I do what I do. So
did you want to be an actor? Like, because
No.
you did.
I mean,
you didn't dabble. You dabbled a little bit,
yeah,
right?
a little bit. But yeah, but it was, for me, this was about, it's not about, like, I keep thinking that up until my 50s, I thought about that it belongs to me. My talent belongs to me. It's a gift from God, so it's about passing it on and making sure that everybody knew that this kid is probably the next Einstein of literature.
This kid right here?
Right,
Yes.
this 23-year-old
Oh, my goodness.
So walk us through the play. I mean, it starts in 2008. You actually started writing this in the summer of 2016, but the play takes place November of 2008.
Yes, so we opened up November 4th, 2008, and it starts off with the funeral, which is right after Obama's been elected president, and
Brother Right to
Complain is being buried, so black folks no longer have their right to complain because a black man is in the White House. And so as the funeral goes on and the preacher keeps talking, we end up shouting and saying words that we can't say on daytime television.
I know, right? Well, yeah. Go ahead, and I want to get to that, though.
Yes. So we end up shouting, and he brings us up so high, which is what we all felt on that day, of hope, and this is what the country is, and we've overcome. And then for 2 years later, for Trayvon Martin to be killed in the streets, it almost seemed like racial injustice got its most potent in the media while Barack Obama was in office. And so that's kind of what that first scene is examining.
Well, and that first scene, and I was telling Rosanna about it this morning, because the usage of the N-word. Now, I was with a guy who grew up in the South, who he said in his household, black guy, who said in his household they did not use that word. And he felt very uncomfortable to the point where he wanted to leave, but I invited him, so he wasn't going to leave.
No.
But was it necessary? Is it oversaturation? Is it being desensitized to the meaning of the N-word? Why?
Yeah. So basically, even in the play, the pastor, in that scene, the pastor kind of sets up the rules, right? He says after today, nobody can use this word but us. He said, because this word is our slave. It's our property, paid for with cotton, sex, and sweat. And so basically what that scene does, it took me, that scene came out of the Larry Wilmore situation. You remember in the final correspondence dinner of Barack Obama, Larry Wilmore was like, Barack, you did it, my N-word. And basically I had a potent reaction to that. I was like, wait, why did he just say that in a room full of white folks? Why did he just say it? And then I had to check myself, and I was like, wait, why not? Why not? Because it's like, I grew up with a grandfather who was born in the Jim Crow South. He was hit in the head with a bowling ball with a white man who called him the N-word when he was younger. So been through so much, saw so much. But in the house, it was N-word, 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 get this, you N-word, them N-words, you know what I mean? But as soon as a white person came around, he shrunk. He shrunk. and his personality shifted. And so what I wanted to do with that first scene was, so often in the theater, because it's known to be white in New York, right? And so I wanted people to know that this is a safe space. You can be you, right? You can be you. You don't
Because you
have
ask
to.
the audience to say it.
Exactly. You don't have to shrink. This is your space. As soon as you walk in the theater, you hear Beyonce, you hear Juvenile, you hear Nuck If You Buck, you hear Luther Vandross. So it's kind of, I wanted to set that space and let people know that this is not going to be theater as we know it to be. This is going to be a new kind of journey.
So I can see like he's shaking things up.
I mean, he reminds me of what I did, and I think that what Ain't No Mo will do is exactly what Empire did for TV. I think that Ain't No Mo will do for Broadway, because they're gonna go in like it's a Beyonce concert, if marketed properly. Because kids, black kids, minority kids, LGBTQ kids, the theater is not just for 50-year-old white people and older. I walk in, I'm the only one there. This will change, I think, and shift how it is that we see theater.
Well, hopefully that'll be a great thing. I know it's at the Public Theater
At
for
the
how
Public
long?
Theater right now till May 5th.
And are there possibilities of it being extended at some point?
This is our final extension in that building.
Oh,
We'll see
darn it.
next year.
Oh,
We've
take it
extended
on the
twice.
road. Take it on the road.
Yeah,
Right.
we've extended
Meanwhile,
twice.
you got him busy. Is he still writing for Star? And
He's writing for his. Have you written an episode yet? I mean, is it aired?
Yeah, I wrote
Is it
that
airing?
episode. It aired in October.
It was just great to
October,
have him in
yeah.
the room, you know,
Yeah.
and then he has his. We are developing. Well, we're doing a pilot for Hulu, Miss Pat, a comedy.
What's
So we're
that about?
excited.
So basically, Miss Pat is a comedian, and she wrote a book about her life called Rabbit.
is it a real person?
Yeah, a real
Yeah,
person.
okay. It's a real
And
person.
basically, she had 2 kids by the time she was 15 years old, sold crack, went to prison, been shot twice, and now she's a full-time stand-up comedian and mom, and been married for 25 years. And so basically, this is a sitcom about her family life. And I grew up on like the Golden Girls and Martin and I Love Lucy and Good Times, so I wanted to kind of take this format that I love so much of sitcom and multicam and kind of explode it and blow it up. And so that's what we do at Miss Pat. It's
Can
gonna
you
be a
believe he
lot of
says
fun.
it's like he's like.
He's an old soul. That's what he is.
All right, we got to ask you about Empire. What